now 6:01, and I first call to order the public hearing on the 2025 budget. So this is an opportunity for anybody in the public to provide any comment on the 2025 budget. Is there any such comment here? Steph, no one by Zoom? Okay. Going once, going twice. Hearing nothing. Anything council wants to say about the budget other than thank you again to staff on that, putting the budget together. Once again, we had that lengthy hearing back in November, and we appreciate everything you do every year and every day. So thank you. Okay, hearing nothing further, I will adjourn the public hearing on the 2025 budget, and we'll move on, and I'll call to order the December 12th, 2024 regular meeting of council. We will begin with a moment of silence and pledge by Council Perry.
Hello, everybody. Forgive me for the mask. Getting over a cold. Didn't want anybody to think that I was trying to infect them with anything. So, tonight for the moment of silence, I know that the holidays are coming up, and a lot of us are excited about it, and it's a happy time for us. But we all know that there are a lot of people who are not. There are people who are struggling with depression, mental illness. Some of them it's just a hard time because they're grieving over family. So I really wanted to take tonight just for us to think about those people and what they may be going through, not only during this time as we're leading up to the holidays, but as we're going through the holidays as well. So, everybody close your eyes. Thank you. Now time for the pledge.
Thank you, Council Perry. Madam Secretary, the roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Here.
Ms. Mellon.
Here.
There was a here.
Ms. Berry.
Here.
Ms. Roos.
Here.
Mr. Shadows.
Here.
Mr. Stubbe.
Here.
Mayor Schultz.
Here. First order of business is we have Councilor Mellon also trying to keep us safe and healthy. She is by Zoom for health reasons. Councilor Mellon, you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'll try to remember that delay. I always forget, so sorry if I cut you off. I need a motion to approve Councilor Mellon's attendance by video conference. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion by the Deputy Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Stubbe. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. And the motion passes. Welcome, Councilor Mellon. Next up is an opportunity for citizens and visitors to be heard. Is there anybody here who wishes to be heard on any issue for our government? See none. Steph, still no one by Zoom?
There are people who know that.
No one's raising a hand. Okay. All right. We'll move on. There are no presentations. Move on to the consent agenda. The following is a list of routine items which do not appear to be controversial in nature and which probably do not require additional discussion. They can be acted on by one motion in their current form. If discussion is desired on any particular item, any member of council or the public may request the item be removed from the consent agenda, and that item will be considered separately. Is there any request from council or the public requesting an item be removed from the consent agenda? I see none. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by the Deputy Mayor. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilor Stubbe. Any discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries. See, I already forgot. Next, under my report, I move the council set the 2025 schedule for the boards, commissions, and council meetings, and note that there will be no council workshop on January 1st, 2025, due to it being a federal holiday and everybody eating pork and sauerkraut or whatever else you like to enjoy on New Year's. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the deputy mayor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Budget and finance.
Thank you, Mayor Schultz. I have a number of items this evening because we are about to approve our budget that our staff has worked so hard on. So I make the motion that Borough Council take the following actions regarding the adoption and implementation of the 2025 budget. First item, I make the motion to approve the 2025 budget resolution.
There is a motion to approve the 2025 budget resolution, which I second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
I make the motion to adopt an ordinance setting the real estate tax mill rates for 2025 general purposes and fire service appropriations 3.058 mils, 0.752 mils respectively. And this is a roll call vote, so Madam Secretary.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Miss Mellon,
Aye.
Miss Perry,
Aye.
Miss Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shiles,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe,
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
Aye. And I'll just note I would have seconded that.
Oh, right.
That's
Oh,
it.
I'm so sorry.
I got that part.
It just tripped me up with roll call vote. Okay, so we're back on it. I make the motion to adopt an ordinance establishing water rates.
Yeah, I'll second that motion. Also note for you, Brenda, that I made a motion under my report that was on the consent agenda. So we had already approved it and I made a motion, so no worries. So there's a motion and second establishing water rates. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is a roll call. Madam Secretary, roll please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Miss Mellon,
Aye.
Miss Perry,
Aye.
Miss Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shiles,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe,
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
Aye.
And I make the motion to adopt an ordinance establishing sewer rates.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to adopt and establish the sewer rates by ordinance. I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. Roll call again. Madam Secretary, roll please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Miss Mellon,
Aye.
Miss Perry,
Aye.
Miss Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shiles,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe,
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
And I make the motion to adopt an ordinance establishing stormwater rates.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to adopt an ordinance establishing stormwater rates, which I second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. Madam Secretary, roll call please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Miss Mellon,
Aye.
Miss Perry,
Aye.
Miss Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shiles,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe,
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
And my final motion for the budget is to adopt an ordinance setting the fee of $85.86 per quarter per residential dwelling unit for trash collection and setting the fee of $8.92 per additional bag or tagged bag effective January 1st, 2025.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to adopt the ordinance setting the fee for residential dwelling units for trash collection and the fee for additional tags effective January 1st, 2025. I second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. Madam Secretary, roll call please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Miss Mellon,
Aye.
Miss Perry,
Aye.
Miss Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shiles,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe,
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
And
Okay, and we're moving.
all those motions carry.
Yep.
Keep rolling.
So we'll move on to the second portion of my my agenda. I make the motion that Borough Council adopt a resolution taking the following actions to authorize an additional supplemental budget appropriation for the Stormwater Fund and Department outlined in said resolution, and furthermore amend the 2024 to 2028 capital improvement plan to add a previously excluded project.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing additional supplemental budget appropriation for the Stormwater Fund and Department outlined in the resolution, and amending the 2024 to 2028 capital improvement plan to add a previously excluded project. I second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay, and the motion carries.
And the next couple items are related to the American Recovery Funds, and just so it's publicly available, these are funds that we're simply moving to different areas within our budget so that they're accessible when it comes time to actually implement some of these that need funding. Correct?
That's right. And we'll actually have in the first quarter of 2025, we'll have a meeting of council to discuss that and move those funds forward.
So these are not allocated directly right now towards a particular project. So I make the motion that Borough Council approval of using American Recovery Funds for fiscal year 2024 revenue replacement in the amount of $2,761,320.85. Oh, I'll keep going. Sorry. And to that Borough Council make the approval of a 2024 transfer from the general fund to the capital projects fund in the amount of $3,311,597.44, and consider assigning fund balance as of December 31st, 2024 in the amount of $3,311,597.44 in the capital projects fund for future capital and council initiatives.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to approve the use of American Recovery Funds for fiscal year 2024 revenue replacement for the approval of 2024 transfer from the general fund to capital projects, and for the assignment of fund balance as of December 31st, 2024. So I second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. I'll take it. Okay.
So the next portion of the agenda is on outside agencies. So these are agencies that request funding through a portion of funds that we set aside in our budget. I am going to recuse myself on the first item and hand this one off to Mayor Schultz.
Okay. I move that council approve the disbursement of funds as part of the 2025 budget to the outside agency Maranatha Carlisle in the amount of $1,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Stubbe. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Okay. Going forward, I make the motion that Borough Council may approve the disbursement of funds as part of the 2025 budget to the outside agency Safe Harbor, Inc. in the amount of $1,200.
There's a motion by the Deputy Mayor for the disbursement of funds in the amount of $1,200 to Safe Harbor from the outside agency funds. On this one, I need to recuse myself. We're too involved in nonprofits. So I'll need someone else to make that second.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Councilor Stubbe. Is there any discussion? And Madam Secretary, please note my recusal. I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And I make the motion that Borough Council approve the disbursement of funds as part of the 2025 budget to the outside agency Earth Artisan and Outfitter in the amount of $250 contingent on the funds being used to support their annual Earth Day event.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion for the disbursement of funds from outside agency fund for earned artisan and outfitter. I second that motion. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And the last one will condense a few different agencies. I make the motion that Borough Council approve the disbursement of funds as part of the 2025 budget to the following outside agencies: Bosler Memorial Library, $2,000. Carlisle Area Health Auxiliary, $1,000. Carlisle Area Sertoma Club, $1,200. Carlisle Arts Learning Center, $1,200. Employment Skills Center, $500. Neighborhood Dispute Settlement, $250. Samaritan Fellowship, $200. And the YWCA, $1,200.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion for the approval of disbursement of the balance of the outside agencies fund for this round. I second that motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries.
And continuing on, I make the motion that Borough Council approve the 2024 active volunteer firefighters list that qualify members of Union Fire Company and Carlisle Fire and Rescue for the reimbursement of earned income tax credit and real estate property tax credit in accordance to Ordinance 2320.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to approve the 2024 active volunteer firefighters list for qualification of the earned income tax credit and real estate property tax credit. I'll second the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries.
And I make the motion that Borough Council approve execution of an agreement with NeoGov for the initial setup, training, and multi-year access to the web and mobile accessible human resources information management system for a fee of $78,459.89 through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Cooperative Purchasing CoSTARS program. Approval is subject to the Borough Solicitor's satisfactory review and approval of said agreement.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to approve the execution of the agreement with NeoGov for the web and mobile accessible human resources information management system, subject to Borough Solicitor's further review and approval. I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And my final item this evening is I make the motion that Borough Council approve quotas for the purchase of filter pumps for Ram Industrial Services LLC totaling $141,075 through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Cooperative Purchasing Program CoSTARS number 008-E23-1027.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to approve the purchase of filter pumps from Ram Industries Services LLC. I'll second that motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries.
And that completes my report.
Well, budget committee is always fun at the end of the year. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Economic development.
I make a motion that Borough Council approve a resolution in support of the Downtown Carlisle Association's Main Street Matters designation application.
Council Perry makes a motion to approve a resolution in support of the Downtown Carlisle Association's Main Street Matters designation application. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Stubbe. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries.
And that concludes my report tonight.
Thank you, Council Perry. ERCP.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one item. Tonight, I move that council authorize the borough manager to execute the $250,000 sub-grant award notification from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency that will be used for the co-responder program.
Councilor Mellon makes a motion to authorize the borough manager to execute the $250,000 sub-grant award notification from PCCD that would be used for the co-responder program. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Perry. Any discussion on this item? We had that nice update from Lorraine at our last meeting. I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilor Mellon. It sounds like she's in a glass jar. Next up is public safety. I move the council approve advertising an ordinance amending Chapter 22 of the Fire Department of the Code of the Borough, repealing Article 3, blue lights on vehicles. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Roos. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay, and the motion carries. That concludes my report. Public Works is next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a number of items this evening. First, I move that Borough Council approve the purchase of a 2025 ODB model DCL 500 SM CDL exempt 16 cubic yard truck mounted leaf vacuum from Stevenson Equipment Incorporated of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for $233,604 to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Cooperative Purchasing Program, co-stars number 4400028339.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion to approve the purchase of a leaf vacuum. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilor Roos. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Next, I move that Borough Council authorize the full release of financial security posted by Berkentine Real Estate Group for the Parkview Land Development Project off Garrison Lane in the amount of $99,136.00 as the developers completed all of the outstanding public improvements. And I'll note that Berkentine Real Estate Group is the current bondholder for this project and purchased the Parkview Land Development from Letterman Incorporated in December 2021.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion for a full release of financial security posted for the Parkview Land Development Project off Garrison Lane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Roos. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Next, I move that Borough Council award the unit price construction contract for the Traffic Signal Technologies TST Automated Traffic Signal Performance Measures Project to the lowest responsive bidder, Atlantic Transportation Systems Incorporated of Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $45,070. This final portion of the project will complete the reimbursement agreement for the PennDOT issued TST grant.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion to award the unit price construction contract for the Traffic Signal Technologies Automated Traffic Signal Performance Measures Project to the lowest responsive bidder, Atlantic Transportation System Incorporated of Camp Hill. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Roos. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Next, I move the Borough Council authorize the mayor to sign the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection Sewage Facilities Planning Module Exemption Form for a connection to the borough's sanitary sewer system from the proposed Chesterfield Phase 2C and 5 28-unit single-family residential land development.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion to authorize me to sign yet one more document this year for the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection Sewage Facilities Planning Module Exemption Form for a connection to the borough's sanitary sewer system for the proposed Chesterfield Phase 2C and 5 28-unit single-family residential land development. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Councilor Roos. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And next, I move the Borough Council award the bids for the purchase of the chemicals used at the Carlisle water and wastewater treatment plants, for which the lowest responsive bidders are outlined in the bid tabulation. The annual contract term shall be from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. And I furthermore move that the Borough Council reject the sole bid received for the 2.18 hydrated lime and authorize staff to rebid the purchase for this chemical, for which no sealed bids were received prior to the deadline established in the initial bid advertisement.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion to award the bids for the purchase of chemicals used at the Carlisle water and wastewater treatment plants, for which the lowest responsive bidders are outlined in the bid tabulation, and further to reject the sole bid received for the 2.18 hydrated lime and authorize staff to rebid. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Council Roos. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries.
And finally, I move that Borough Council retroactively authorize execution of a temporary access and construction easements agreement with the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks Lodge number 578, granting the borough access and use of a portion of 2 private properties for the purposes of the borough removing and replacing the Ridge Street finished water storage tank.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion to retroactively authorize the execution of a temporary access and construction easements agreement with the Elks for the removal, to assist in the removal and replacement of the Ridge Street finished water storage tank. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Council Roos. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you, Councilor Stubbe. Next up is Sustainable Community and Economic Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion that Borough Council may modify the minor land development provisions and approve a minor land development for 202 East High Street subject to conditions imposed by staff.
Councilor Shiles makes a motion to modify the minor land development provisions and approve a minor land development for 202 East High Street subject to conditions imposed by staff. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. And before I move this to call the question, I know I'm Justin Doty. I want to make sure you earn your money. So if you want to come up and give us a little description of the project. I know we've had a brief discussion about our vision for this end of the borough and understand what you're proposing and why it looks the way it does and how this is going to move forward.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Nice to see you all again. My client, Harsh Gruhl, could not be here tonight, so I'm here to represent the project. Harsh is trying to take a site that's been in disrepair for many years and turn it into something useful. In order to do that on his budget, he has to repurpose the existing block building that's on the property. It's actually, if you're not oriented or familiar with the property, on the corner of East High Street and Southeast Street, Dolphin Oil facility.
Justin, if you would just go around the podium, just in case we have some people by Zoom, they might not be able to hear you if you're not at the mic.
Right. That's my fault.
Sorry, that's okay.
Mike. Okay. So the property currently has the existing block building, which served as a garage, I believe, in the past, and then hello?
Okay, did I get it? Sorry about that. Too much of a hurry always. But anyway, the property has the canopy and the old sales office that's going to be demolished, removed. It's all gravel and pavement now. It's been broken up over many years. The existing block building is going to be repurposed in order to save significant cost and potentially even environmental impact to try to repurpose the building as is. It's not always ideal. A lot of times in the borough, we want to try to move our buildings to the street, but for this project, it's just not feasible to do that because the building's already set back. The plan does call for a removal of impervious area, which treats our site for stormwater management. By removing impervious, we remove the potential for runoff. The property actually sits pretty close to the FEMA map floodplain for the Latort. It wraps around. There's a little finger kind of coming in near the building, or I'm sorry, the property. We're not doing anything to impact that. If anything, we're reducing flood flows to that because we're removing impervious and replacing it with pervious grass and so forth. So project has a lot of vegetation that's not there now proposed along the street, bushes and things that can be into and close to the right of way of street trees that are in accordance with your ordinance. Of course, the property requires parking, so the balance of the project is going to be updating a parking lot. We are working with PennDOT to establish the entrance off of High Street. That will be a restricted access of some kind. We don't know exactly what that'll look like yet, whether it's a restricted in only or if they'll allow right out of that access drive. I know for me, I would like that right out because I tend to go that way, but otherwise commuters will have to take access to Southeast Street, hit the light, and then take a right onto High Street. I think I've covered most things. Some of you may have seen marketing material. I even have a vision of this on the back that I'm not even going to flip around because it was designed by someone for marketing purposes, and Arsh is currently working with a local architect, Bob Chinficki, with Chinficki Scholl, to come up with a design that more closely meets the HARB's guidance. We've worked with Jared to kind of determine why it needs to be in conformance with the HARB, what elements of it would sort of make that happen, and of course his building plan will have to go through that process after land development. So I'm here to answer any questions that I'm able to, and go from there.
Are there any questions from council? Justin, I know you love to get these questions, but and of course I'm not asking for any specifics if you can't provide. But does your client have any tenants lined up, or tenants lined up?
Does.
Does. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that they've signed contracts, but I believe he has letters of intent.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I'll just we've talked about in our land use reform meetings about small businesses that could have smaller footprints, and this does reuse a space and give smaller retail possibilities. I just did want to verify that the comments that were made, this is more for Jared and you, but the comments that were made by the planning commission, those are in part of the motion, as in it says subject to conditions imposed by staff. So the elements that were proposed by the planning commission, including the parking, no more than the parking minimum, that is actually in the comments, and that would be a condition.
That's right.
Okay.
We talked with Jared, or I talked with Jared earlier this week, Brenda, about taking away those two spaces that are extraneous and replacing that potentially with the sidewalk or the ability for people to walk from High Street down to the actual building, because right now there's no way to do that. So
yes, so that was additional. I wasn't going to say the sidewalk, but in general, greenery, sidewalk, functional space, not just asphalt that isn't lined, but definitely if there's more space for things other than cars, using it to the best possible use, and saving some asphalt could be saving some dollars. I don't know.
maybe a little more. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
I think this is wonderful. That has been an unused parcel of land probably since I remember growing up, and as a native of Carlisle. So I'm deeply grateful to see someone have a vision for that space and to be able to return it to the town in a way that is going to bring in new businesses and new foot traffic and revitalize that space in a way that it deserves. So thank you.
I'll be sure to pass that along. Thanks.
Anything else? Okay. Then I will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. I was waiting for Councilor Mellon. I didn't quite hear. That was it. That was an aye, I suppose, Councilor Mellon, right?
Appreciate it.
She's still with us? What's okay.
I'm
Councilor Mellon,
here.
there
Did you
you
not
are.
hear my vote?
There was an aye. Okay, just wanted to confirm for the
I
record.
did
All right.
say aye, yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay. Next up would be new business. This allows any, if you were too shy at the beginning of the meeting, another opportunity for citizens to be heard. Would anybody like to be heard? That's just you, James. So come on up with your wildcats.
That's a good segue. We'll just happen. James Evans, 157 B Street. I just wanted to say I came to the planning meeting for that particular property and, express my support. I think it's a great thing. And what I wanted to come to the council as I've been following things, um, is I know we have to have right and left limits with codes and HARB and various things, but what I'd recommend, and I recommended a planning commission, is maybe look at some things we need to look at going forward is trying to get ahead to attract business here because we're losing a lot of business based on the economy. I mean, we're just losing another downtown business, the Yak and Yeti. And there's some businesses, I think some properties, it's been well over 18 months. So anywhere where we can take disused properties and attract that investment into the community, maybe if we can look at some of the rules and codes and ordinances that we have, whether we fast track it or look at how we can follow the law and follow the rules, but be able to make it less burdensome on to attract business into the borough. Because I think just going around, I think we're losing out on some things in the borough um, to other municipalities where we could probably be attracting that in, and especially in downtown. I'm wholeheartedly supportive of small business, but I think also maybe, and I know it's not necessarily government's job, but creating those conditions where maybe we actually have some national retailers mixed with small businesses, because a lot of people still use national business for a lot of their things, but that coupled with a small business, they come to use the national business, they'll use the small business. So looking at some of those things to attract that investment and that tax base into Carlisle, into the borough. So it's great to see people taking disused properties or dilapidated properties that have been sitting for, decades or more to get that investment back. So just wanted to pass that on. Again, I'm trying to come up and give some productive ideas so we can attract businesses and not lose out to other municipalities to raise the standard in the borough. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, James. Anything else?
I'll just really quickly give James a little James. I'll just give you a little update quickly, simply because we do have our lovely land use reform subcommittee meetings, and it's exactly what you're talking about is what we're looking at, but it's not just one single thing. So we appreciate perspective, we appreciate what people are seeing, what they want, and getting additional comments. So when I mentioned about the small footprint, we've been discussing an small industrial artisan industry. Is that what we call it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that businesses that maybe could be listed under, they're creating something industry, but they aren't like a big behemoth, like small scale, something you have in your garage that you're tinkering with. Well, maybe you want to front a shop. So there's things like that currently people have to go to the zoning hearing board. So we're trying to know what those limitations are, those barriers are, and think creatively about how we can, review our ordinances. So you're with us on that, and also I appreciate any other thoughts and comments, because we really want to make sure that what we put out and when we change it, that it's going to align with what we think the borough needs and what our residents want to see.
Yep. Yeah, James, one of the sort of overarching things that we worked on early in that subcommittee and is an ongoing project is going through. We went through the zoning ordinance in pretty good detail on the uses. And Jared, do you remember how many different uses we've built up over time in that zoning ordinance? It was over 200, I think, uses, and so that's way too much. So sort of simplifying the zoning ordinance and other ordinances tend to help make things easier. Some things are market driven, national retailers and that type of thing tend to need things that perhaps the downtown can't provide, the way society is right now, and hopefully as things kind of switch to less automobile centric, which is one of the things we were talking about. One of the things we've talked about with the 202 East High Street is to make sure that there's pedestrian access, because we have more and more people in this borough who are getting around on foot and by bicycle, and make sure that they have ease of access. And I've given that example when my son and I went out to Lowe's one time. There was nowhere for us to put our bikes. So it's just even simple things like that. So all those make a difference to everyone.
And I'll just make one more comment: is that because of all of our brownfield factory sites, sometimes those have better opportunities for larger types of redevelopment. So it's not that we're against any sort of larger scale retail or what are different varieties, but some things like this little 202 East High Street is better used for this repurposing for right now. But yeah, we aren't against it. Or Mayor Schultz is already working magic sometimes.
Once in a while.
trying to get things started.
Okay, thank you. There's no further public comment. Still no hands up, Steph. Okay. We'll move on. Reports from council members, and we'll go around the horn here. And any end of year thoughts?
I just want to thank those who came out for the holiday parade. I know that 2 parades back to back is a lot for the Parks Department, so thank you very much. And I just wanted to correct on the closures at the end. Andrew, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is no Parks Board meeting on January 2nd. Is that correct? Okay. I just want to note that is listed as being a meeting, but it is not. So that's it from me.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Stubbe. Deputy Mayor Landis.
I just wanted to note that President Biden did designate the Carlisle boarding school, industrial Indian boarding school, as a national monument this past week. And I work at Dickinson College, and for a very long time, my colleagues and myself have supported the very deep archive database on the school, and so it's been something that's been very apparent to me for a very long time, and yet is hidden in plain sight to so many in our community, and especially our country. So although a lot of folks here in Carlisle do know about it, I think that there's still plenty of opportunity for education and trying to heal and understand and recognize the immense pain and wrongs that were done through that institution. So I welcome this federal designation, and I'm very interested to see how this can continue and how we can continue shining the light on this unfortunate history.
Thank you. Council Perry. Councilor Shiles. Okay. Borough Manager Armstrong. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Borough Manager Kate reminded me that you're hanging out there on Zoom. Is there anything you'd like to provide for us at our final meeting of the year?
No, nothing for me. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Borough Manager Armstrong.
I do have a few things that I'd like to say since as we near the close of the year. First and foremost, I want to introduce to everyone formally 2 new employees that have started with the borough, a part of the leadership team. Jason Cohen. Jason is our new Director of Finance, having just started on Monday, actually. He comes to us with a wealth of experience, having served in 3 separate Franklin County municipalities in various capacities. Prior to coming to the Borough of Carlisle, he worked at the Borough of Chambersburg since 2013, serving as Budget Administrator and Director of Finance and Treasurer. Prior to that, he served as Assistant Borough Manager and Treasurer at the Borough of Waynesboro and as the Borough and Authorities Manager at the Borough of Mercersburg. He has a wealth of experience in a variety of financial and administrative functions, has a master's degree in public administration from the University of Pittsburgh, a bachelor's degree in political science pre-law from Indiana University of Pennsylvania. And one of the things that stuck out for our interview team was that Jason expressed on more than one occasion how much he enjoys the direct positive impact that local government has on one's community. He has a passion for teaching others and leads by example to build trust and respect among teams. He was actually drawn to Carlisle's principles, ideals, and goals, and I think is looking forward to the opportunity to serve with purpose in an environment that supports innovation and continuous growth. So, Jason, welcome. Also, I know we joked a little bit at the November meeting, but I know that Mayor Schultz had informally introduced Marita Mo Abelin, but I thought I'd do a more formal introduction now, since she continues to return week after week and hasn't gotten scared away yet. So Marita actually came to us, started October 21st. She came to us from the Susquehanna River Basin Commission, where she worked since 2012. She started as an environmental scientist, and in her last position as a compliance specialist 3, she was responsible for compliance, planning, and operations, approval of a variety of projects such as wetland monitoring, water resources development, water withdrawal intake, treatment, storage designs, metering methodology, groundwater elevation, and adverse impacts mitigation. She managed projects in consumptive use mitigation and water conservation for public water supply and infrastructure improvements, and performed regulatory inspections, records auditing, investigations, and enforcement on behalf of the Commission. She's experienced in working with a wide variety of stakeholders, as many of us know, including business owners, consultants, academic institutions, and all levels of government. She holds a master's degree in environmental planning and management from Johns Hopkins University Whiting School of Engineering and bachelor's degrees in environmental studies and French from Bucknell University. I think she's lived in the Carlisle area since what, 2010? Okay. And some of us even know Mo as she goes by. She's a certified firefighter and is currently president of Carlisle Fire and Rescue. So Mo, thank you. Thank you for your contributions already. It's great to have you on board. And we also saw 2 members of our leadership team that were promoted in 2024. First, I'm so pleased to have been given the opportunity to recognize and promote Richard Juday from Director of Finance to the Assistant Borough Manager position. Richard has done a tremendous job in service for this organization and community since his arrival in September of 2016, and just looking forward to the opportunity to work even more closely with you, Richard. Thank you so much. Also, farther down on the table is Jeff Berkston, who has been on staff for about 18 months. He came to us from Michael L. Baker, where he had a long tenure in consulting. But when he was hired, he was hired as the assistant and borough engineer. And we brought him on board given his extensive experience with transportation engineering. When Mark Mallarich tendered his retirement, we promoted Jeff to borough engineer, and Jeff has assumed those transportation duties that used to fall under Mark, as well as solid waste and recycling and the engineering part of that position. So thank you, Jeff. And then I always like to say a few words at the end of the year. I just want to extend sincere gratitude and appreciation to the entire leadership team, but moreover, all of our uniformed and non-uniformed employees. They continue to provide constant delivery of services and collectively carry out our mission. Uh, they're dedicated, and all of their respective contributions to addressing our community needs, in my opinion, are unmatched. And I am just very, very proud to serve alongside them and just thank them for showing up every day and doing a phenomenal job. And on behalf of our team, I wish to thank you, Mayor Schultz, council members, for your ongoing leadership and support throughout this past year. And we as your team look forward to continuing the work undertaken by this organization and community to advance Carlisle's vision and your objectives. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And then my final comments. So I'm going to start out a little bit. I suppose you could say sad, but then it'll turn bright. You may remember those who were here when I was sworn in. I talked about when I was about 7 years old, the loss of my infant brother. My family just suffered another loss this week. So, infant brother to my 103-year-old, just about one day shy of his 103rd birthday, great uncle. Uncle Frank Maello served in World War II, served under General Patton in the Battle of the Bulge. He took a bullet. He tended to his own wound because there were no medics available on the battlefield at the time. He went on to live a long and fruitful life. Uncle Frank was well known to like to hit on women, and he did that at my wedding when he was 86 years old on a friend of mine. And if you want to hear the whole story, I can't tell it in public. I'll be glad to tell you later. But loved to golf, loved his grandchildren, and his children outlived three of his children and two of his stepchildren. But was happy and had incredible vitality just about up to his final day. And for me, that just both of those experiences in my life just remind me how precious each moment is that we have with each other, and everything that each and every one of you do to better this community and touch the lives of people around you really make a difference. And I hope you realize that. So I'm going to close with a message I received, not from a Borough resident, and two of you may understand who this came from, but it really applies to each and every one of you. That your impact is seen elsewhere, and it brings a great deal of pride to the borough. So Jason and Mo, we look forward to seeing all of this from you in the years to come. But this individual wrote to me that she had run into two of our borough employees, and so they were both great. They really both are. Everyone I meet from Carlisle is fabulous. You have a great crew there. So you're making impressions out there, and that makes a difference for this borough and the reputation of this borough. We appreciate everything that you've done for us this year and previously. So thank you. And Chief, I understand I'm going to have an early Christmas present for you in the form of some new officers getting sworn in just in the days before Christmas. So we have a lot to look forward to. And with that, unless there's anything further, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.